Ladies and gentlemen, this is a story that came out in motherjones.com. Fact check: Trump has done virtually nothing to combat the opioid plague. This is January 30th, 2018. So, as you know, in his State of the Union speech, Trump once again gave lip service about fighting the opioid plague that's going on. And that's all he's been doing, is giving lip service. Even the commission that he put together says he just push aside everything they recommended, and he has done nothing. He's not even listening to the commission that he put together. See, this is all for show. He has no intention on helping a single junkie out here. I said it before, I'll say it again. Trump promised during his State of the Union address Tuesday night to prevail in the battle against the opioid plague, pledging to be much tougher on drug dealers and pushers and help get treatment for those in need. Trump has long vowed to prioritize the plague, which killed 64,000 Americans in 2016, promising to spend the money to treat addicted Americans. The number of drug users and the addicted will start to tumble downward over a period of years, he said in October when he declared the crisis a public health emergency. It will be a beautiful thing to see. All lip service, y'all. Lip service. Among his guests Tuesday night was Ryan Holtlet, an Albuquerque police officer who adopted the child of a girl named Hope. So he is some heroin addict woman he met and he adopted her daughter. I'm skipping over that. But despite his rhetoric, Trump has so far done very little that experts think could make a dent in the drug crisis, and has actually pursued a number of policies that could make it worse. He repeatedly proposed cutting services that would help drug users and their children, programs such as Medicaid, the Administration for Children and Families, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program. So he's making cuts to all those programs, but at the same time telling the public he's helping the addicts, which he's absolutely not doing anything at all. Meanwhile, Trump has provided no new funding to combat the plague. And that's key right there. And that's very telling that he doesn't want to do anything. So as we consider Trump's State of the Union promise, let's look at the administration's track record so far, chipping away at Obamacare. The Affordable Care Act provided addiction treatment to millions, which researchers on the right and the left agree is key to solving the drug crisis. But of course, Obamacare is a favorite target of the White House. And after several failed attempts to repeal and replace the legislation last year, the Trump administration has taken to slowly chipping away at its key components. And you know why it keeps failing? Because many of these congressmen and senators know if they repeal it, they're going to catch hell back at home from their constituents. And they're not going to come out and say that, but they're going to show it in their votes. That's why every time he made an attempt, it has never been repealed, because they know what the ramifications are if they repeal it. A lot of them, even these long-time career politicians, they'll be done. They will never get voted back in. Okay. The landmark tax legislation Republicans passed in December repeals the individual mandate, the part of Obamacare that requires individuals to buy health care insurance or face a tax penalty. According to a report from the Congressional Budget Office, the repeal will increase the number of uninsured Americans by 13 million over the next 10 years. Of those 13 million, an estimated one third, or about 4 million Americans, struggle with an addiction or mental health. Making matters worse, Trump announced earlier this month that states could impose work requirements for recipients of Medicaid, the nation's largest addiction coverage provider. Administration officials said that states could make reasonable modifications, such as exempting those in addiction treatment from the work requirements. But public health advocates worry that the requirements will present yet another hurdle for drug users to overcome to assess treatment, ignoring his opioid commission. And this is the biggest complaint Christie has had, Robert Kennedy Jr. has had, and others on that commission. No matter what they recommend, Trump ignores it. And that, again, he's just putting that commission together for show. He has no intentions on doing a damn thing. Soon after taking office, Trump appointed a commission led by then New Jersey Chris Christie to guide his approach to the epidemic. Drug policy experts on both sides of the aisle recommended the commission's recommendation. Commended the commission recommendations, which encourage public health oriented initiatives such as expanding access to addiction treatment and non opioid painkillers. Trump instead taken a police centered approach championed by Jeff Sessions. Okay, no one should be shocked over that. Awarding funding to law enforcement agencies to crack down on drug trafficking and assigning federal agents to disrupt illicit opioid sales online. I think that's funny. Let me just tell you this quick story. I used to live in a town called Atco, New Jersey, probably about 10 years ago. And there were cops that were dealing drugs. Okay? And that's part of your problem. Many of these cops are criminals themselves, and they themselves are into a lot of this drug trafficking that's going on. They're not going to stop this mess from happening. And these cops were dealing drugs near a high school, a local high school. They were dealing drugs, and these were cops doing this. Cops, y'all. And it was not just one cop. It was a ring of them doing it. Okay? This is why you will never see drugs go away. You got too many people in federal office and in these post offices and on the police force, and they're all caught up in this drug ring that's going on in America. All of them are. That's why it's never going to go away. All right, let me get back on track. Back in August, Trump said his administration was moving towards declaring the plague a national state of emergency, another central recommendation of his opioid commission. Such a move would have unlocked millions of dollars in federal disaster funds. But 2 months later, Trump instead declared a public health emergency, which allows states more flexibility in how they use federal money, but comes with no additional funding. And that's the biggest complaint people on his commission had, proposing huge budget cuts. The Office of National Drug Control Policy coordinates federal prevention and treatment efforts, yet Trump has yet to appoint a director, the so-called drug czar, to the office. Moreover, he has proposed dramatically reducing the office funding. Again, does that sound like he's trying to help the situation? No. Trump is playing the old Caucasoid game that we have seen for centuries in America. All lip service, no action. It's just like us. Whenever we complain about the racism and everything going on, they never ever do anything about it. They just give you a bunch of lip service, or now their new game is coming back and calling you a racist. but they never do anything about it. That's all these people are about. They're just all lip service, but they are the ones that want to be in charge, okay? But yet do nothing about some of the most crucial things going on in America. They do nothing about it. And he doesn't want to do anything about this. Anytime you're not providing funds for, um, combating this problem, anytime you're telling the states no new funds and you don't have a drug czar and you are cutting the jobs that are in the office of the drug czar, you ain't taking this shit seriously. His actions, it's not the words that you should always pay attention to. It's the action. If their action don't match the words, then you can best believe they're full of shit. All right. All right. A White House draft budget proposed slashing the office budget by a whopping 95%. So he's talking about cutting the drug czar's funding by 95%. Now, does that sound like he's trying to combat a drug problem in America? No. A plan the administration later backpedaled on. Now, according to Politico, the administration again plans to cut funding for the office by 95%, relocate the office, two main grant programs to the Department of Health and Human Services. So there you go, y'all. That tells you right there. Trump ain't about to fight this plague. He don't give a damn about these dying junkies out here. That's the last thing this man is concerned about. Okay? He is more focused on fighting the NFL, taking down Obamacare, and going golfing for 118 days since he's been in office. This man has no interest in doing too much of nothing for this country. And he's not. Trump don't work. And as you can see, many of these millionaires ain't about to lift a finger to do any work up in here because they never had to. I don't know why. Again, I don't know why these people think because someone got money, that means they are the best one for the job and the best hard worker. Rich people don't work hard. I even knew this when I was a kid. Rich people do not work hard. They have a whole bunch of staff and people working around them that are their foot soldiers, but they don't actually do no damn work. And most of these trust fund babies like Trump bought their degrees. Their families threw a few $1,000,000 at the university and they gave him a degree. And that's how the vast majority of these rich people got their degrees. They didn't sit there and go to school for all those years and earn those degrees. Very few of them have. But you can't tell the high IQ people this because they don't want to hear it. Please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. And don't forget to hit on the notification bell twice and join me over on Black Junction TV and blackspot.com. Peace, family.